Hey, so I'm on the road today and sorry, there's like huge icebergs since the snowfall that are still on the street. I'm on the road, figured I'd do a little Q&A while I was driving since it'll be a little bit of time I got, so come along. So pretty much, I went to Facebook and I was just like, okay, I wanted to know what you guys wanted to know. And anything that I knew, of course, I'm more than willing to share. So we'll walk down a few subjects and I hope you guys enjoy it. One question that I got was, how do you moisturize your hair? How do you make sure your hair is moist? So pretty much, when I talk about hair type, does it have, does your hair have high porosity? Does it have low porosity? Is it something that you even know? Because that will definitely dictate how much moisture your hair is really willing to hold. And those factors can be based on, yes, whether your hair is curly or more of a straighter pattern. And it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you're curly, you're gonna have a highly porous hair. And with high porosity hair, it becomes difficult to hold moisture because your hair cuticle. So if you think of the hair strand, the cuticles, it's kind of like sidings on a house. So sidings on your house or the hair strand are lifted, which means moisture can easily leave out of the strand. Meanwhile, someone who has low porosity hair, their hair may retain moisture better, but it's also getting that moisture in too. That's also a factor. So, with my hair, it's highly porous, and I will say it is naturally highly porous, but also, I would say use very little heat, but here's the thing. Here's an area where a lot of people forget. A lot of us enjoy hot showers, myself included, and that's one of those times where you don't think about it, but more than likely you are showering with your water too hot. Yes, some heat applied does help to open the cuticles, and if you're doing like a deep condition or something like that on your hair, it definitely helps for the nutrients to be absorbed into the hair. However, any heat applied to the hair is going to have some effect on the protein bonds in the hair. Our hair is made up of protein bonds. You hear of keratin treatments. Keratin is a form of a protein treatment. And what happens is we start breaking down those bonds with heat, or if you use chemicals, with chemicals. So when it comes to that, your hair becomes highly porous. And one thing that you will hear oftentimes beauticians tell you is that, you need to deep condition more often, more regularly, because your hair will become drier quicker, it will become more brittle, and what that leads to in curly heads is a lack of elasticity. And so, when it comes down to it, let me bring it back. When it comes down to it, you just need to make sure that whatever you're doing to your hair, whether it be heat styling, whether it's just a lot of manipulation, that you're always ensuring that it is being moisturized well. But kind of getting back to my initial point is honestly knowing what is your hair doing. So there are certain tests you can do. If I can fit in an image, I'll insert it here. So you can tell yourself, like, you're able to see what is the porosity of your own hair and then act accordingly. That is a biggie. I mean, an everyday thing we can do, which I know a lot of us are guilty of doing, is make sure that we are sleeping with something that is not going to absorb the moisture. So cotton scarves, they will absorb any moisture we have in our head. So I would say stay away from those. Stick with your satin bonnets, satin scarves, and those help the most. If you really are someone where you really can't rely on yourself to throw it on at night, get the satin pillowcase. Doing that would definitely help retain some moisture. So I think that's pretty much it. If I do think of anything else, I will elaborate in a later video. You know what? Also, one thing is the product. So, the product is important because a lot of us have grown up with this idea that grease is going to moisturize your hair. By definition, moisture must have water in it. If you're dealing with a product that is grease, petroleum related, that has nothing to do with water, like water isn't the first or second ingredient, not even in top 5, then more than likely you are not moisturizing your hair with whatever product it is, no matter how it's marketed to you. So you have to ensure that you read labels, really make sure that water is the first or second ingredient in whatever moisturizer it's claiming to be, and yeah, just really make sure it's a true moisturizer. This whole moisturizing with grease thing. And also shea butter, I love me some shea butter too, but shea butter is not a moisturizer. And the things that I'm speaking of, grease, butters, any oils, any fats, any petroleum products, or sealants, what they're going to do is seal in any moisture that's on top of that surface. So when it comes down to it, you have to have a moisturizer on before you apply any of those things. So don't just think you can throw the butter or the oil or the petroleum, the Vaseline, whatever it might be on, and think that your hair is going to be moisturized. You need to do more than that. So that's another thing. And I guess that's pretty much it when it comes to moisturizing. There's also plenty of other videos on YouTube if I missed anything. And my biggest thing is, yes, I like to educate others on what I know, but there's plenty of other information out there. And I just really ask you guys also to do your own research, because I do know some things, but I don't know everything. And, that mindset is what really drove me to research these types of things, because I knew, when it comes to my hair, I want it to be healthy, I want it to be strong, I want it to look the best that it can. So I just dove in and I researched the best that I could. And also places that made sense or credible or whatever.